It's time. You're not here for an accident, but a beautiful, benevolent reason. And so today I'm just playing the game, the role of messenger for this channeled message that wants to come through for you. You've been doing the work. You've been doing a lot of the work, the deep work, the inner work, the transformational work, the transmutational work. You've been looking at what is your limiting beliefs. You've been clearing, unearthing these layers, healing your ancestral lines, healing your karma, clearing it, your Akashic records, your past lives, right? You've been doing the work of shifting your vibration. And the guides are coming in and they're saying, it's time for you to stop doing so much work. You don't need to be doing the work right now. Instead, letting go and allowing more of what wants to emerge through you. Letting go and allowing this new chapter, this new phase of the journey. So as I'm here to deliver this message for you, I'm like, this is the energies that I'm dealing with in the West, right? Is the dog barking. So I'm moving away from the West and the sun is setting. And moving away from the West for me right now represents that you're walking away from what no longer serves. You've been walking away from the past. You know, I'm opening up the gate. So a new gate is opening. New opportunities are opening. Sometimes you gotta close the door on the West. You gotta walk away. But when you do, see, then letting go becomes letting in. It becomes more easeful and more graceful to be in that receiving mode. So if you've been focusing your consciousness on reality creation, studying the metaphysics of how to create your reality, raising your vibration, meditating, prioritizing your self-care, prioritizing your connection to source, and you've been honing your craft, right? Following your bliss, following what you're passionate about as a light worker, following that creative spark of what wants to come through you. And you've moved through this dark night of the soul. You've gone into the shadow, done the shadow work. Now it's time to move from work into play, because you're moving into the flow state. You've been releasing all resistance, clearing the pathways for that channel to be wide open, for the flow state to come through, for the flow of energy, source energy to come through. You've got your hands in the clay right now. Energy is sculpting, worlds are forming. You are literally creating legacies here on Earth. You are here to create, co-create the new Earth. Cat totem. So for all my fellow lions out there, right? And you know, there were some challenges that came with that, and you really had to push through. I know when I was building this channel to like get myself to the point there was like a year there almost when I was making videos every day. I hid some of the older videos because I wanted to go with the newer energy, but a lot of the older videos are still up. I think I've done this channel, I've done like 3 different times. Like this is like the 3rd time I gave a shot at it. And then I took 3 months off. I did this program about doing your purpose and launching and stuff. Details, rabbit holes that I won't go into all the details on. And I kind of took a hiatus. I went back down an old path, and I found myself going into old energy. I found myself kind of losing the spark, and I took a break from it, and I had to let go of some real old karma too, and it was some middleman energy. And it was something that I was holding on to from the past that in a way I needed to go back into, reconnect with that person, and realize that it was never going to work. I had given it so many tries, so many chances. It was just not going to work. It was an old business partnership. It was something we tried to launch for years. I put so much energy into it. It just was not working out. And it was letting it suck my energy, and it was actually holding me back. And I went back and I had to like completely walk away from it. I had to completely cut ties with an old toxic relationship. I had to like, I even on a totally other side besides that business thing, in the past, creative endeavors thing, in a past relationship that I had like 6 months ago, and I thought it was like we were traveling the world together. There was all this abundance, and it was all like very like trickstery. It was all like surface level. It was karmic, right? It wasn't actually the twin flame. It wasn't actually that. It was a karmic relationship to help clear, stuff. And but I thought it was at the time. So I went all into that relationship, and then we were, and then when we finally were about to get rooted into all this stuff was opening up, I just had to walk away from that too. I didn't have to, I chose to, because I realized it wasn't really for me. And so the relationship department, that fell apart. My living situation fell apart. I was basically like homeless for a while. And then the business thing, I tried that again, it fell apart. And the whole time I got distracted from my YouTube for like 3 months, and my music and all the things that I'm passionate about. And I went down and cleared some deep karma. And then my camera's focusing on Zeus over here. It's my partner's beloved furry friend, ally, familiar. And in that process, I found my purpose again. I found my voice. I cleared through that stuff. And I came into love. I came into love resonance. And attracted, a relationship where I'm really happy, and it's really fulfilling, and it's like more in my purpose. And making money doing what I love is now starting to happen, and like everything's like starting to happen in that way. And for a long time it felt like very blocked, or like, when's it gonna happen, right? So the reason I'm sharing all of this is that I literally went through my tower card, like Saturn return, just coming out the other side of my Saturn return, through all of that. And like now everything had to fall apart in order for everything to come together. And now I'm like very clear. I'm like, I've been pursuing my purpose the whole time, but I left home with a backpack, like where I grew up, like 10 years ago, before I started just like I journeyed, and if you've listened to anything if you're new here, I'll just tell you that I lived out of backpacks and traveled around and lived in eco villages and went and sat in ceremonies and went to transformational festivals and was super nomadic for like 7 years or 8 years. And I'm still kind of nomadic. Like right now I'm sprinter van, like nice, like cabin sprinter van life. Like still I am nomadic, and I'm coming into being more rooted. So it was very much a journey for me of like a pilgrimage. And now I'm wanting to walk that journey with even more intentionality. And in that journey was one of pursuing my art, and also unlocking my spiritual gifts, and finding teachings, mentors, like things that I could tap into. Books, education, events, people, places like that supported that shift in consciousness, and connected with, there's a beautiful global community of people that are awakening, basically, that I connected with. And so that was for me a big part about finding my tribe, and like finding myself, finding my voice, finding my purpose. And like I went through this period in my life where literally like everything I had built up, like I had a nice place, I had the girlfriend person, I had this, I had that, and it just like crumbled because I wasn't really doing what I loved. I was like kind of like, things were just like certain things that weren't in alignment, and then fell apart, and things that I put energy into for many years fell apart, and I didn't understand why certain things weren't working, or certain relationships weren't working for me. And then when I finally chose myself and walked away from things that did not serve me, that's when things started coming into alignment for me. That's when things really started working. Like and it's very recent too for me in many ways, and it's like, and in certain ways, certain aspects of it are very sudden in the ways that they've happened. And you know, you meet the right kind of person at the right time, and so on and so forth, and you've put in a lot of energy to, you know, and half of it is the preparation that you make, the preparing your vessel, that's what I was saying, is if you've been going in and doing the work, that's great. Thank you for doing that work. I'm not saying, I'm being a little like, you know, funny about it. I'm not saying don't do the work. I'm saying shifting from that work, like, it doesn't have to be so hard anymore. You can shift more into that play, into that enjoyment. It's still your craft. You're still pursuing it. Of course you are. That's who you are. Because when you shift on the level of identity, when you really understand what all this metaphysical teachings are pointing to, the shifting on your level of identity. Because when you shift your identity to inspired creator, you're going to take the actions of inspired creator. Okay, if you shift to successful inspired creator, I'm a successful inspired creator identity does what an I am successful inspired creator identity does. And what that actualization is for you is going to be unique, right? Because we all have our unique gifts. We're not all the same, right? We're all one, but we're not all the same. It's like a paradox. It's at the same time, you're this beautiful individuated God spark. So your own gifts, right, are wanting to come through you. You've got this beautiful light worker mission as to why you came to this planet as a starseed, in order to bring this shift in consciousness. But it's through your unique gifts, your unique expression. It actually does matter. It actually does make a shift. It actually is making a shift already. It actually is like you're seeing this ripples turning to waves. And as you've gotten and you've maintained that flowed state, and you were nose to the grindstone, and you showed up even when it was hard. I remember for a year, like every day I'd push through to do the video. And then when I took a break from it, and I went and I cleared and I let go of this stuff, and I just started enjoying life more, being in the moment. When I started it up again, the channel, without the attachment to the result. And some of that attachment started coming up of like, oh, are people going to receive me, and so on and so forth, and just that old momentums and thoughts of what other people think about you. And as I worked through that and I just completely let go, things started to expand. I started to see that it's like I started attracting my tribe, because when you're detached, you're more magnetic. It's like, yeah, you're still putting that passion in, you're still doing that inspired action, but you don't need it anymore. Like, I don't need any of this. And there's a lot of things that I have in my life that I used to think I really needed that didn't come in until I stopped needing them. The relationship, the really awesome relationship, didn't come in until I gave up on it, in a way. Like, the fulfilling things to do that make money didn't come in. Now I have like multiple options of things that I can do. Whereas before, in the past, I only had like one or two, or some, and often of the times I only had like one very obvious choice. For the first time, these multiple options are opening up to you, because you walked from the West, you walked through that gate. And now, because you've done this more individuation work, when you do this individuation work, the work of alchemy, the great work, right? The shadow work, you gain more free will, and you're able to use the fate points on your timeline as synchronicities, as opportunities. That's what magic works by, is synchronicity. Synchronicity is a rhyming with the universe. It is the way that the matrix code of reality works, right? We're living in a hologram. This is running on certain sacred geometrical codes. Look up Metatronic codes, right? Angel number 33, 1111, 22, repeating number sequences. 3 repeating numbers always add up to 3, 6, and 9. Do the math. 1 + 1 + 1. 2 + 2 + 2. 3 + 3 + 3. Go on, so on and so forth, right? 3, 6, and 9. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And he also referred to 3, 6, and 9. So when we shift within, our reality changes. because there's no separation. This is what as within, so without, as above, so below, from Thoth Hermes through the Emerald Tablets is speaking to the 7 Hermetic principles, these basic building block understandings of the universe, right? And that everything's made of vibration, so your thoughts all have vibration, right? So when you were doing this work of this more law of attraction work, for many of us, we started to discover the law of assumption. And this is another way of looking at it, which is that as you change your identity, you change your reality, because you're changing the version of you that's the match to that reality. Some of us, it takes more work to shift realities because there's more momentum, there's more programming, there's more karma, whatever you want to call it, right? Not everybody likes to call it that. Some people just like to call it whatever they like to call it, a vibration or a belief, right? But that's essentially what it is. It's in a cause and effect, right? There's your thought is holding a vibration. A belief is like a more rigidly held thought, which could also be said to be a programming. But that's what runs our matrix. So when we're aware of this old momentum, when we're going in and clearing that, that opens up space for us to be able to manifest new patterns in space-time, in the ethers. You can think of a pattern of thought as impressing a certain pattern on the ether. And the ether produces the equivalent to that pattern given its rightful time. Just as like given a seed's rightful time, it will produce a plant. Every thought contains a thing that's the equivalent of the thought. That's the actual purpose of thought, is to create. Useless thoughts are the thoughts that waste our energy. So as we've been narrowing in that bandwidth, as you've been focusing and creating your reality, you've been honing your vibration, what the guides are saying is that, the guidance is saying is that, so when I speak to guides, I'm clairaudient, so I receive messages. I'm also somewhat clairvoyant in that I see things, and I'm also not attached to those labels. Those are just like ways of describing that everything is made of vibration. So when I tune in, I receive messages from my guides, and I'm also connected to the stars and the earth. And there's a council of, like, I have a light team of spiritual beings that we can tune into because we're all connected. And yeah, space-time is non-local. Everything in the universe is connected. That we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and you have a whole you have spiritual guides. So the guides are coming through, right? And this could be said the messengers, right? This could be said the guidance is coming through, that you don't have to try so hard. You can let it happen more. You are in the driver's wheel. Let Jesus take the wheel. Let yourself surrender. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the flow, because it's all coming to you. Detachment is magnetic. So when you're not so attached to the result, funny enough, it's all coming to you because you're not in your own way. There's no resistance anymore. You've hit flow state. When you gain critical mass, you stay in that consistently, and you create a new state of consciousness. You literally create a movement in consciousness. This is the power to create worlds. This is what creates social movements. It all starts here in the thought. It all starts here in your vibration. The change starts within you. It all starts right here in the seed that you plant, right? So when you hone that in and you hit non-resistance, it's like when you hit the bell curve, right? And it goes like a rocket taking off. That's the point you're at. That's where the new earth vision is. That's where you just tap the web and it just goes, right? That's where you have a clear intention and you align yourself with that identity avatar, and you play into the simulation as it is already so. So when you say, and so it is, and so mote it be, you are invoking that it is already so. Claim it. This is the power of your spell. This is the power of your word. This is the power of your prayer. This is what the ancients are trying to teach us all along. And this is the ancient future, right? It's all coming through. It's all here, right? In order to create something, you have to have access to the idea. Tune your antenna to the frequency of the reality you wish to live within, and you can create it. And it is meant for you. And in the multiverse, you already did. So thanks for tuning in. Peace.